Because that bill of fucking regret is gonna come whether you are doing anything or not. You're gonna have regrets regardless in life. The only question is, which version are you gonna pay? Are you gonna pay the regret of, man, that didn't work out, I tried? Or are you gonna have the regret of, fuck man, I don't even know what would have happened because I never tried? The only question that actually matters is, what are you gonna play for? Who are you gonna play for? Are you gonna play for yourself? Are you gonna play for your dreams? Or are you gonna play for that other guy? Are you gonna play for that friend who has a lot of shit to say but not a lot of shit to do? Are you gonna play for your family members that don't believe in you, that laugh at you? Are you gonna play for that little kid inside of you who had dreams of doing something important, of doing something that mattered? Or are you gonna play for that fuck ass 22-year-old version of yourself who's just too goddamn scared to do anything in his life? Before we get into this episode, if you want more than just this conversation, then join the newsletter. It goes out every single Monday, and it's a full breakdown of the biggest lessons, takeaways, how to apply them from the video. And I also include a little golden gym nugget for all you gym rats out there that will definitely help you out in your fitness and health journey. Plus, you'll also get the media list, which is 5 books and 5 podcasts that have generally changed the way that I think and the way that I operate. And I generally think that it will help you out as well. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all the links down below in the description. And let's get right into the video. I came across a line this week, 8 simple words, and it said, if you think the price of being successful is too high, wait until you're served the bill for regret. Those 8 simple words have not left my mind ever since. So today we're gonna talk about that bill, the work that nobody sees and the price that most people don't realize they're paying. A few years ago, I started building something. And I'm not gonna tell you what it is because that's not the point. That's not what we're gonna talk about. What matters is that at the start, nothing about it was working the way that it was supposed to. Most days, nobody was watching what I was doing. And to be fair, there was nothing much to watch because there's a lot of work that takes place before there's something that you can see. And the work that I was doing, most people wouldn't even call it work. I was getting up early, I was making bad decisions, dumb mistakes, but those are lessons that are part of it. And I was the only person in the room that thought that it was gonna go anywhere. 3 years later, and I mean 3 years later, not make it sound lightly because there was a lot of work that was done in those 3 years, you start seeing resemblance. You start seeing breadcrumbs of like where you want to be or where you're headed. And you start seeing that, maybe this actually does work. What I want to talk about today is what I've been thinking for this whole past week. And it's a question that I get almost daily ever since I started recording things. People ask me, how did you do it? What's the secret? And what's the trick? And it sucks to say this the whole time. And I've said it countless times. There is no secret. There is no magic unlock. There is no key to solving all your problems. There is not a single thing that you can do that will completely change your life. It's a series of things. It's a series of work, fail, work, fail, work, fail, work, fail, learn this and this and that. And that's not me being humble. It's just that there's no actual answer. That is it. There's no trick. There's no shortcut. There's no version of this where you find the right hack on the internet and skip 3 years, 4 years, 5 years ahead. You don't get to skip the work. There is nothing that you can do in order to make things easier. You just have to go through it. But there's a bridge between who you are now and who you've dreamt about being for years. Your wildest, craziest dream. There's a bridge, and all you have to do is cross it. The bridge is very real, and it can be walked. But the thing is that almost nobody wants to walk it because of what it entails, because of the work that it takes to walk through that bridge. And that's what I want to talk about today. Why the bridge is right in front of you, why most people don't ever set foot on it, and what it actually costs to start. So we have 6 ideas. Most of them are mine, okay? I've stolen them from better thinkers, from people who've done much more than me, people who are much more successful than I am. And they've changed the way that I think and the way that I go about doing things. And I think a couple of these ideas are actually going to change the way that you think as well, if you let them. So let's get started. 6 ideas. Number 1, the first idea is one that took me a long time to actually believe, understand, and do. And it's mostly because when you hear it, it just sounds like a little weird. At least to me, it sounded a little bit weird, and there's like 100 different ways of saying it. But you can't trick the universe. You can't trick the universe. You can't trick fate. You can't trick work, whatever it is that you want to call it. And it sounds really soft when you say it out loud. It sounds like something off a Pinterest board, off of like a really crappy, cringy Instagram caption, like, oh, believe in the universe, this and this and that. But what it actually means is that every result you see in someone's life, good or bad, was paid for with something. There was a cost, and it's not just the work that they've done. There's a hidden cost that nobody talks about. And if you don't know what they paid, it doesn't mean that it was free, right? There's no handout. There is no overnight success. There's no this, there's no that. There's something that had to be paid, whether it was a relationship, whether it was friendships, whether it was a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of freedom, anything. But there was a bill. And you weren't there when that bill came for them, so you just don't understand. I'll give you the version that I see all the time. Let's just call a random guy, right? Decides that he's gonna start a business. He's never run anything before, but he watches a couple of videos. He gets really fired up. He does motivational videos like, yeah, you can do whatever you want. And the first thing he does is he goes out and spends money, right? He gets equipment, he gets the website, he gets logos, prints business cards, starts his whole social media profile, and fast forward 3 months, and he's deep in the thick of it. He's posting on social media telling that, everybody at family reunions, at friends gatherings, that he's an entrepreneur, he has his whole business and stuff like that. But the thing is that he actually has no customers. There's nothing that's paying the actual bills, right? He built what looks like a business. He built what it looks like an appearance of the business before he actually built the thing that makes the business work. You know what? Like sales, marketing, actually custom and fulfillment. And that's the thing that actually makes a business work, finding people who need what you're selling and convincing them to pay you, convincing them to give you money. 6 months in, and he's broke. He's losing things that he can't make payments on. He's bitter about it, and he's blaming it on the economy. He's saying that the market's bad. He's saying that his competitors are cheating, that everything's so unfair. He spent all of this money and all of this time doing things that actually never moved the needle, but he doesn't want to believe that. He doesn't want to admit that to himself because of everything that came beforehand, all the work that he did, right? All the work. In summary, he skipped steps, he skipped the work, and the universe built him for it. The version that most people actually miss is that he didn't actually save any time by doing all the things that he did at first. He actually spent 6 months pretending to do the work. And now he's behind where he would have been if he just actually spent 6 months doing the actual work. And this shows up everywhere once you actually start looking for it. The kid who buys the gym membership and the supplements and the tank top and the shorts, and he's like posting everywhere that he's about to lock in and that he's about to start, actually going to the gym. Or the creator who buys like $4,000 camera and like professional audio equipment. He hires a cameraman and he does this and he does that before he actually knows what to even record or wait to point the camera at. Or the guy who buys a watch before he actually gets the raise or he gets the promotion or before he locks in any kind of security in his life. In most cases, people aren't actually trying to skip the work, and some of them are not even lazy. Most people are actually working very hard at something. It's just the wrong thing. They're working hard at trying to look like they did the thing instead of actually doing the thing. And the universe doesn't get fooled by that. The universe, the work, whatever you want to call it again. The dues are non-negotiable. You either pay them up front, quietly behind closed doors with no audience, or you can pay them later in front of everybody, be a total failure, and you pay with interest. Social interest, that is. The cheapest dues are the ones that you pay first. I learned that the hard way, and most people do as well. Congratulations, welcome to the world. Which brings me to the second idea. And this one's one of the most important things that you're going to hear throughout this whole video. So if you're going to listen to absolutely anything that I say, listen to this next one. Number 2, the work that builds anything real is invisible by definition. Stay with me on this one. I want to actually walk you through it so you can understand it, because if you understand it and you execute on it, the next 5, 10, 15 years of your life will look completely different than what they were originally going to look like. If anyone were to see the work that actually needs to get done, it wouldn't be the kind of thing that you get applaud for. It wouldn't be entertaining. You wouldn't put this on camera. It wouldn't be the thing that actually needs to get done. The work that it actually requires to change someone's lives needs to be done alone, behind closed door. It has to be done quiet. It has to be done in rooms where nobody claps, where there's nobody to congratulate you. There's nobody to see whether you actually did it good or you actually did it bad, right? Just you and whatever you're working on, and the version of yourself that decides whether you're actually going to show up or not. Think about the people in your life who are actually successful at whatever it is they're working on. Real success, not Instagram success, not social media success, real outcomes, fitness, money, creation, family, relationships. Now think about how much of their actual life you actually got to see, right? Did you see them at their lowest? Did you see them at their highest? Did you see the ebbs and flows of how this whole thing works? No, most likely you didn't. Let's be honest. And it's not because it's something to be shameful for, or it's like I don't want you to see me lose. It's just that's part of it. You see almost none of it. You saw the result. You saw the photo at the finish line. You saw the whole post on social media, like, yeah, we got to $1 million. Yeah, we did this. Yeah, we got married, whatever. But you didn't see the fucking thousands of hours that it took to actually build the result. You didn't see any of that. Nobody did. And that's the whole point. That's why it worked. You know, when you see a couple getting married, you don't see them posting like, oh yeah, we argued here, and we almost broke up here, and this and this and that. Like, you don't see couples posting that because like that's part of their relationship, right? A relationship is tested when hard things show up. Same thing during work, during business. The business gets tested when hard times come. Is the business going to survive when there's hard times, right? Are you going to survive when there's hard times, right? What makes an Olympic athlete, an actual Olympic athlete, is not the easy races, right? It's the hard races, the races where you're up against other people who could potentially take your title, who could potentially do this, who could potentially do that, right? The hardest UFC fights are not the ones that are like the little amateur kid that just started 2 weeks ago versus the guy that's been doing it for 10 years, right? It's both of the guys that have done this for 10 years together that have completely different lives and completely different fighting styles. Or maybe not. I don't know. I don't watch UFC like that. Most people get this exactly backwards. Most people perform the work instead of actually doing it. And sometimes they don't even do it on purpose. They just don't realize what they're doing. That's why I'm telling you guys this. The post about the gym instead of going to the gym is wrong. The tweet about a book they're writing instead of actually writing the book is wrong. They tell everybody what they're working on so loudly just to get some kind of, I don't know, acceptance, some kind of feedback, some kind of like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And so often people just get the most dopamine from making the actual announcement that by the time that they're alone with the actual task, the engine's empty. And this is actually like scientifically proven. I don't fucking know who said that, but I heard it somewhere that the amount of dopamine that gets released from your brain from talking about doing a thing is the same exact amount of dopamine or even more than actually doing the thing, which is fucking crazy. And like there's research on it, you know, I can't source it from memory, but again, there's a research that says when you tell someone your goals out loud, your brain treats it as if you've already accomplished it. And it's actually fucking crazy. So you broadcast your dream, you tell the whole world about what it is that you're doing, and you've already burned the fuel to actually get the thing done. So just stop doing that. Stop doing that. Work in silence. This is why the work has to be invisible. Not because being seen is bad or because letting people know what you're working on is something bad, but because the fuel for the work is being spent on talking about it instead of actually doing it. You have to do this and then talk about it, right? And if you can do both, go ahead, crazy, go off, right? But most people can't. You can't be performing and building at the same time. You're going to have to pick one. You're either going to be seen or you're going to be behind closed doors, paying your dues, doing the work. Both are fine. I mean, you make the choice that you want to make, but pick the one that actually matters the most because they just don't coexist. They don't work like that. So here's the test that I run on myself. And I want you to try it tonight to see if it actually works for you or if I'm just making up shit at this point. Question 1, who's actually celebrating my work with me? And question 2, if the answer is anybody other than myself, what am I actually working on? Am I working on letting people know what I'm doing and feeling good about it? Or am I working on actually doing the thing that I'm going to tell people about, or they're going to find out regardless later on, right? So what are you doing? Are you talking about it, or are you actually working on it? Real quick, if you like this episode so far, then you'll definitely like the newsletter. It's a full breakdown every single Monday of the episode. You get the key takeaways, the key lessons, and how to apply them, plus a little golden gym nugget for your fitness and health journey. Plus, you also get the media list, 5 books, 5 podcasts that have genuinely changed the way that I think and operate. And I think that it will definitely help you out as well. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all the links in the description. And let's get right back into the video. If other people are celebrating your work, 2 things are true. They've seen it and you've shown it to them. But those 2 things don't mean that you've actually done anything. They only mean that you've actually just performed instead of building. And now, I'm not saying that every successful person has to be a fucking, I don't know, little worm under a rock and never come out to see the light of day. I'm saying that there's a time to show your work and there's a time to tell people what you've made. But that time is after you've actually made it, right? Not while you're making it, right? Not 3 weeks in, not when the whole project is still a hypothesis, it's still a slideshow, it's still a Google Doc in your computer. I want to give you the part that nobody talks about. Doing the work alone, actually alone, by yourself, in a room, not leaving until you actually get it done. It feels lonely, because it is very lonely. There's no small chatter with your coworkers, because there are no coworkers. There is no saying hi to everybody in the office, because there is no office. It's just you at your desk. There's no thank yous. There's no Sunday afternoon where you get to feel proud because somebody noticed what you're doing. There's no after work talks. There's none of that. You have like stretches of months where you're actually working, and no one, absolutely no one in your life is going to congratulate you for that, because number one, you put yourself in that position. You chose to do that. So why would they congratulate you for putting yourself in a position to get work done? Like, that makes no sense. In my head, that makes no sense. But they're not doing that because they don't see what you're doing. And most of the time when you try to explain it to them, their eyes glaze over. They're like, oh yeah, this guy's like trying to start his own thing, or he's trying to like create content, or this and this and that. And they're just like, whatever, like, sure. And guess what? It's part of it. You cannot change the way people think. And that's the price that you have to pay. Again, you cannot skip the steps, and you cannot skip the price. You're either going to pay it now or you're going to pay later. You'll get no congratulations. You'll get no party. You'll get nothing until you actually get it done. The best thing is that everybody's going to say that you got lucky. They'll say that you're an overnight success. They'll say that you did this or you did that or whatever. They never saw the hundreds of lonely nights that you spent at your desk or outside or whatever it is, doing the thing that you were going to do. They never saw the times that you wanted to quit. They never saw the days that you went to bed convinced that all of this is a waste of fucking time. No one's ever going to see the times where you doubted yourself because there was no money coming in. They're never going to see the times where you almost didn't make it that week because everything's just so fucking hard. That's the part of the deal. That's part of what you're agreeing to do when you actually decide that you're going to do the thing instead of performing the thing. And if you can make peace with that, if you're actually fine being invisible while you're working on the things, you have an unfair advantage over 99% of people that are actually building a thing, right? Not that who are thinking about doing the thing, but the people who are actually building it. Because most people that actually start the thing don't last because they can't stand that loneliness. They can't stand that silence of hundreds of nights that it takes to build something. They'll bail out. They need an audience. They need someone to positively reinforce their decisions. They can't think for themselves. They need somebody to tell them that they're doing a good job, that this is the right thing, that they're going in the right direction. They don't have free will over their own minds. Real builders, people who are actually doing something, they build alone by themselves, no matter how long it takes, because that is what's necessary. Idea number 3. The next idea is possibly one that I think about a lot. Imagine you and I are standing in a room, right, by ourselves. There's a 1 foot wide plank of wood laid across the floor in front of us, 20 feet long. Both ends are on the ground. Remember, we're in a room by ourselves. And I tell you, go ahead, walk across it. And you're like, okay, fuck it. What? Like, sure. You'd walk across that plank 1,000 times out of 1,000 times. You wouldn't even think about it. It's wide, it's flat, it's a solid piece of wood on the floor. There's absolutely no challenge. There's no friction. You'd cross it without slowing down. Matter of fact, you'd probably sprint through it. Now, imagine that same plank, same length, same wood, But this time, instead of being on a safe concrete floor, it's 1,000 feet in the air, strung between two buildings. And same thing, same objective. I tell you, go ahead, cross it. What actually changes now? Everything and nothing at the same time. The task is exactly the same. Same width, same fucking wood, same number of steps that it takes to cross. The only thing that you're being asked to do physically is the same thing, walk across it. But now, 99 out of 100 people that would have otherwise crossed it don't even start. And the few that do, that 1% that do, most of them will fall. Not because they couldn't walk on a 1 foot fucking wide plank, but because they're looking down at the 1,000 feet of space between them and the floor. They're thinking about the fall. They're thinking about what could go wrong. They're focused on the wrong thing. The task is not the actual problem. Walking across a plank is very easy. The problem is what you're doing while you're doing it. You're looking down. This is what most people miss about doing anything ambitious. The task is rarely the hard part. The hard part is staying focused on the task instead of being focused on the consequences of failing that task. Almost nobody actually fails at doing the thing that they're trying to do. Most people fail at the start of the thing. They actually never get on the plank. They never actually think about crossing to the other building. And the reason they never step on the plank is because they're staring at the fucking 1,000-foot drop. Let me put it in terms that are much easier. Whatever you've been thinking about doing for the last 2 years, that thing that you keep coming back to, the side project, the conversation that you had, the dreams, the thing that you told your friend that you both were going to start, all of that, the workout plan, whatever it is, that apology, the business idea, absolutely anything that you've been thinking about doing that you actually haven't started yet, whatever it is, that task is actually not hard. The doing the thing is pretty simple. The actual mechanics of doing the thing are actually within your reach, and you are more than qualified to doing it, but you've just been looking down at the 1,000-foot drop. You've been imagining what people would say when you fail. You've been imagining what your bank account would look like if nothing works. You've been running every worst case scenario in your head until the worst case scenario feels like the most likely case. But here's what nobody tells you. Again, because nobody talks about these things. The cost of trying that thing and failing is one bad week. One bad week out of your whole life. Okay, worst case scenario. 1 month. 1 month when you're very fucking tired. 1 month where you're so down. What's 1 month out of like what? You live for 70, 80 years times 12? Like fucking potentially almost thousands of months. 1 month. What is that? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. 1 month, maybe 2 at most. You try, it doesn't work. You feel stupid. Somebody at the barbecue makes a fucking comment about it. You get over it. Within a set amount of time, you're past it. Within a year, it's a story that you'll tell about a self-deprecating joke that you make at the next friend's gathering. And most people actually respect you for having tried that than what they would respect you if you didn't try, right? Because most likely they wouldn't have done it. The cost of not trying that thing, that's just completely different. Regret is a real bitch. Now, here's the line that I have not been able to stop thinking about for the whole week. If you think the price of being successful is too high, wait until you're served the bill of regret. And that bill is something that nobody warns you about. Because it doesn't actually show up the day you don't try. It shows up way later, years later, maybe even decades later. It shows up when you're 45, lying in bed at 3 a.m. next to your wife, the kids are in the other room, doing the math on what you could have built if you had just started that thing 10 years earlier. What your life could look like if you had just tried. It shows up when you're 60, when someone about half your age does the actual thing that you talked about all the time. It shows up at the end of your life, on the last day, when somebody asks you what you actually accomplished in your life. And you have to answer honestly. And you say that I lived a regular life. Didn't take no chances or anything. I didn't fulfill my dreams because I was too scared. The bill for regret compounds. The bill for trying and failing never does. And that's the trade that nobody fucking understands. Nobody seems to actually get it. The cost of failing They see it as this ginormous expensive bill. And the cost of not trying, they see it as like a freebie, right? A free coupon ticket. And they've got it exactly backwards. The cost of failing is, again, 1 week, maybe 1 month. The cost of not trying is one horrible bad life. This is the math, and it's not even close. Like, imagine, again, you're 45, and now you have to live with the fact that worst case scenario, if you would have tried it, and you would have failed, worst case scenario is that your life would look exactly the same. There's nothing worse than understanding that you could change the trajectory of your life forever by actually trying. And the worst case scenario is that your life continues exactly how it was. Maybe with a little more debt, but hey, money comes and goes. So here's what I want you to leave with this one. Whatever the thing is, the version of you who's 80 years old now and begging for the version of you now, today, to start, not to crush it, not to win, but just to start, to get on that fucking plank, to stop looking down at that 1,000-foot drop, and to just go and see what happens. Because that bill of fucking regret is gonna come whether you are doing anything or not. You're gonna have regrets regardless in life. The only question is, which version are you gonna pay? Are you gonna pay the regret of, man, that didn't work out, I tried? Or are you gonna have the regret of, fuck, man, I don't even know what would have happened because I never tried? Come on, pay your bill. I kind of lost track of which idea we're on, but I think this is the fifth one. So, fifth idea. And this one's one that I've watched destroy entire lives. And almost nobody would talk to you about this because it's very harsh. The people that you spend more time with are the ones deciding what your life is going to look like. You've heard that version by like self-development gurus saying like, you are the average of the 5 people that you hang out with. And I don't think that's quite necessarily correct. It's not an average. It's more like a gravity field, let's say. Let me explain. The people closest to you are pulling you in directions you don't even notice. Some are pulling you up, some are pulling you sideways. Some of you are definitely putting you down. And some, this is exactly what I want to talk about, some are pulling you exactly where they are, right? Not up, not down, not sideways, exactly where they're at. And that's because they don't feel comfortable when they see you actually moving forward. The mistake most internet advice makes about this story is that they tell you to cut your loser friends out, right? They cut the guys that are not going where you want to be and then get new ones that match where you want to go. And honestly, I just think that's horrible advice. That's basically like a leech version of friendship, right? You go find more successful people and you hang around them so their success rubs off on you. Like, that's what a leech does. That's a very fucking coward move. Like, what are you? And that's not even how it works anyways. Just because you hang around millionaires doesn't mean that you're actually just going to become a millionaire out of nowhere, right? That might work for like 1% of people that do it. But for you, most likely, it won't. Let's be real here. There are two kinds of people in life that look almost identical from the outside. They both want to spend time with you. They both call you. They both invite you out. But one friend is loyalty, and the other one is gravity. Loyalty is the friend who was there when you had absolutely nothing. The friend who's still there now. The friend who'll show up on your worst day with no expectation of getting anything back, no matter what level of life you're on. Loyalty doesn't care if you're winning. Loyalty doesn't get weird when you start doing well, right? He doesn't start switching up and saying weird things and just agreeing with everything that you say. Loyalty might give you grief, but the grief comes from love, not from threat. You can feel the difference. And a gravity friend is way different. Gravity looks loyal from the outside, but gravity only feels good when you're at its level. The second you start to climb up, the second you start upgrading your life, the second you start scaling this mountaintop of work that you need to get done in order to reach the summit, reach the tipping point to where your life changes, gravity starts pulling down. And it pulls very quietly, not noticeable at all, in ways that you don't even notice. And that's what's very, very dangerous about a gravity friend. The phone calls get a little colder. The invitations to just lay around and do nothing get a little more frequent. The jokes about how you've changed start getting a little sharper, and instead of being jokes, they start being like little sneak disses on the side. Then we never see you anymore. It starts going from like, oh, I actually miss you, to, hey, I'm actually complaining that I don't see you. which is two completely different things. And that's gravity. And that's arguably the most dangerous force in your life right now, because it doesn't feel like danger. It feels like genuine friendship, and you have to be careful. I'm not here to tell you who in your life is which one is gravity and which one's loyalty. That's not my job. That's yours. You have to do your due diligence. I cannot speak English. But here's the test that I personally use. And I do this when I need to be honest with myself. And it's very hard, and it's kind of heartbreaking sometimes, but you have to do it. If I told this person a real win in my life, no matter how big or how small it was, something that I've worked for, something that I was proud of, would they be more excited about it than I am? Or would they be quietly relieved about a setback that I tell them about? Loyalty is excited, like genuinely excited. They're like, yeah, start diving you up, start hugging you like, fuck yeah, like you deserve this shit, like stuff like that. It's not performing, it's an actual feeling. You can see it in their face, the way that their face lights up, the smile, the congratulations, the hug, like it's all genuine. Gravity is completely different. It's actually excited when you struggle. They might pretend otherwise, but you can actually feel it. That little gut feeling, it's not wrong, it's right. The energy in the room just completely switches, and suddenly they have so much more time for you now to be there for you. Now, this is not so that you have to cut someone out of your life. You don't have to make a big ass announcement. You don't even have to text them, to be honest with you. You don't have to write anybody off of your life if you don't want to. All you have to do is just notice, look for it, see that difference in your friends. And once you see that difference, you naturally start spending more time with loyalty and less time with gravity. And the good thing is that the gravity people kind of just drift on their own, kind of like little planets in space, in their own little world. Because the only thing keeping them close was you not noticing, you not understanding the difference between gravity and loyalty. And one last thing on this one. If you do find somebody who's been genuinely loyal to you for years, when you had absolutely nothing, when there was nothing in it for them apart from the actual friendship, you owe them something. All right. And I'm not talking about money. I'm not talking about a favor, none of that. But you owe them the truth. You owe them your time. And when you start winning, you owe them a seat at the table so they can eat with you. Right? That's the whole point, right? Rewarding the people who were there for you, rewarding your family, rewarding your real ones. That's the whole point. The people who were with you at zero are the people who deserve to be there with you when you're at 100%. Anyone, I don't care who it is, I don't care how rich they are, I don't care how famous they are, anyone who's telling you to drop your real loyal friends on the way up because they don't serve your purpose or whatever, is telling you a story that's going to leave you very fucking rich. Okay, let's be honest. It's going to leave you very rich and also very alone. Very, very alone. Which leads to also you being very empty. So just think about that. Moving on. Again, I forgot which number this is. I guess this is the last one, right? This is the last one that I have on my list. This last idea is one that I actually want you to take home. Maybe write down some notes, apart from the other one that I told you to write down. This one's actually very important. So let's just say that you forget all other 5 or so ideas. Keep this one for the books. Every day you wake up, you make 1,000 small choices. Most of them feel very insignificant. Almost routine. What time you got out of bed, whether you checked your phone first or you didn't, whether you ate something that fed you or something that just filled in the time, whether you opened the document that you've been meaning to work on, or whether you opened a different tab or you watched something else instead, or etc. None of these choices actually feel like much. None of them feel like a fork in the road, but they are. Every single one of these micro choices is a fork in your road. Because let's be honest, we've all heard that small things matter, right? And they don't matter just in relationships with your partner. These small choices are doing one of two things. You're either feeding your fears or you're feeding your dreams. There is no neutral, there's no middle ground, there's no, let's just figure out, a compromise or whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's not. Every choice either goes one direction. It feeds your dreams or it feeds your nightmares. It feeds your fears. It feeds everything negative about that side of you. And here's the part that took me the longest to understand. The path to your dreams feels terrifying. I'm talking about like life-threatening, worst horror movie in the world kind of terrifying. And the path to your fears feels very friendly. It's very welcoming. It's like open arms, come here, let me comfort you, my child kind of path. And that's the trap. Most people don't end up living their fears because they choose to. Nobody wakes up at like fucking 21 and decides that I'm going to spend the next 40 years of my life quietly afraid and I'm going to die having done none of the things that I dreamed about. Nobody actually says that. Nobody makes that conscious choice. That's not a decision that nobody makes. What happens instead of making that decision is people drift. They take paths that feel easier, the path that feels more familiar, the path that doesn't ask them to risk anything, the path that's comfortable, that's easy, that doesn't require them much change, if any at all. And every day, they make 100 small choices that are slightly more comfortable than the alternative. And guess what? Those choices add up. 1 + 1 might be 2, but what's 1 + 1 + 1 + 1? You know what I mean? Like, it adds up. Everything adds up. They compound. And after 20 years of slightly more comfortable choices, you wake up one morning and you realize that you're not living the life that you intended to live or the life that you dreamed about. And you don't even know exactly when it happened because there was never a single day where you decided that you weren't going to go chase your dreams. Right? It wasn't a single choice. It was little small paper cuts. This is when that little saying comes into place, death by 1,000 paper cuts. It happened on every single day, a little bit at a time. And that's the bill that we talked about earlier. That's the one that nobody warns you about. Not because life is unfair necessarily, but because the path to it just was so warm and welcoming and friendly. The actual path to your dreams doesn't feel friendly at all. It feels like you might fall into a 1,000-foot drop. It feels like people might laugh. It feels like you might lose money that you don't even have to lose. It feels like you might be alone for a very long time. It feels like you might pour yourself into something that just doesn't even end up working. And all of that is true. All of that might happen. The path to your dreams is in fact fucking terrifying. And that's not a bug. That's the design of it. And like we said, the path to your fears, on the other hand, is ending up exactly where most people end up, comfortable, on a couch. It's the next episode. It's the second drink. It's the easy laid back week. It's the conversation you keep meaning to have but don't. Project that you keep meaning to start but don't. The call that you mean to make but don't. All those don'ts, they're so friendly because they keep you comfortable. You don't have to engage in anything that might be slightly outside of your comfort zone. You don't have to think about what that person might think, say, or do in regards to what you have to say, think, or do. And it all feels great up until that bill comes. So here's a question that I want you to ask yourself before you do anything else. Today, was that a dream day or was it a fear day? And listen, don't make the same mistake that I did. Don't beat yourself up. Don't be harsh with yourself. Just be honest. Okay, that's all you can do. Was today the kind of day that if you stack 365 of these days in a row, is this path the one that actually gets you to where you want to be? Does it actually build you the life that you want to live? Or was today a day that felt something completely different? If it was a dream day, if you actually made progress, great. Good job. Now just stack another one tomorrow and keep doing that every single fucking day. You're on the right path. If it was a fear day, if you did everything that didn't lead to where you wanted to be, listen, it's okay. We all have those. There's nobody perfect. Just make sure that you actually do something about it, right? If you notice it, do something tomorrow, right? Or do something now to change it. Just because right now, before this, your day was full of bullshit doesn't mean that in this next hour, this next 30 minutes, you can't go change that, right? So just notice it and do something about it, right? The difference between the people that change their life and people that don't is the ones that notice what's wrong and actually do something about it, right? Instead of just waving it off. And that's all it is. That's the big secret, the big unlock, the you'd never heard this before kind of thing. 365 days of small decisions. Stack the right ones in a row, and in 3 years, 4, 5, 6, 10 years, you've actually built something that was worth it. Go ahead and stack the wrong ones, and then shit, less than 3 years, you're exactly where you started, except now you're 3 years older and the path to your dreams is 3 years steeper. Listen, you're already in the game, right? The day that you were born, you entered this game of life. You don't get to choose whether to play because you're already here, right? You're already playing. The only question that actually matters is, what are you going to play for? And who are you going to play for? Are you going to play for yourself? Are you going to play for your dreams? Or are you going to play for that other guy, right? Are you going to play for that friend who has a lot of shit to say, but not a lot of shit to do? Are you going to play for your family members that don't believe in you, that laugh at you? Are you going to play for that little kid inside of you who had dreams of doing something important, of doing something that mattered? Or are you going to play for that fuck ass 22-year-old version of yourself who's just too goddamn scared to do anything in his life? That's it for today. Thank you for watching. Go build something. Thank you so much for watching that whole episode. It really does mean a lot to me. If you like it, then you'll definitely love the newsletter. It goes out every single Monday, full breakdown of the episode, key takeaways, lessons, and how to apply them, plus a little golden gym nugget for you guys that need help in your fitness and health journey. Not only that, you also get the media list. It's 5 books, 5 podcasts that have generally changed the way that I operate and think, and that I am convinced that will also help you as well. All the links are in the description. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. In the screen somewhere, there's going to be more videos that you should definitely check out. And until next time, see you guys.